Yeah, the difficult art of asking for forgiveness and to forgive others and to forgive ourselves. Why? Why is so hard to forgive? I'll give you a very interesting clue, a hint that will make it really easier. Of course, there are levels of things that are done to us and to others. I understand, and I was as a child and a teenager victim of lots of things that are unforgivable. That's it, unforgivable. But what I will give to you now is a way to separate the person that did what she did, or the group of people that did what they did or didn't do. Sometimes we expect that people show up to do something for us or to defend or protect, and they don't show up. So when we separate the people from the fact, we started making a little bit loose. We start making a little bit easier to understand how forgiveness can be a little bit less complicated. Oh, Katja, no. Now you are complicating even more. No, I promise you. By the end of this quick life, you understand and you'll be able to start contemplating, putting in perspective in a total different way. I promise you. I went through this process many times for many people, circumstances, areas, and it works. That's why I'm here sharing with you. So, first of all, understand that we all do things at least once in a lifetime. We did things, or we will do things that we regret. We really want someone to forgive us. We said, or we didn't do, or we didn't say something that was expected, and we regret that and we feel bad about that. It's like, I should have done, I should have said, I should have had my mouth shut, I should not gone there. Whatever it is, the situation, the circumstance, we have things in our life. If you lived enough, time enough to interact with people and to be in different levels, interconnecting with people, you had opportunity to do or not to do things that I should have done different. So one aspect of the forgiveness is to understand that in that moment, when we look back, of course we see things in a different way. Of course, you lived some, first of all, the consequences of that act or that absence. So then you have a better perspective. Before you didn't. So, first of all, it's to honor the person you were before. If it's the case of you, forgive yourself. Understand that before, when the event happened, you didn't know what you know now. So you need to honor that you that didn't know much, didn't know the consequences. So it's important that you honor that you, that moment in life, that maturity or not that you had at that point, that involvement with the situation that you had at that point, that didn't give you, made it too clear. It was not too clear what to do. You had to to make a choice, and you did. Then, after all, now that you look back and you see the consequences, you can, yeah, that's the learning process. That's what we call experience. Now I know I should have done different. But the self-forgiveness start understand that you didn't do on purpose. So you didn't know. So you can be kind enough to yourself to forgive yourself. That's one aspect. The other aspect is when we separate, when people did things to us, or we expected people do things, an event, let's call an event, because then you fit whatever happened to you or whatever you were witness. That event so happened, and now you were just with a difficult to forgive. So that's the hint. Because we all make mistakes. We all had a moment in time that we did something that we need other people's forgiveness or self forgiveness, because we are all humans and humans make mistake. When you separate the fact from the person, it starts being a little bit easier to understand that we all make mistakes, and that person made a terrible mistake with you. But because this person is human like you, like me, and we all make mistakes, just because of that, that person deserves a little bit of a credit, a little bit of your forgiveness. Why? Because it's a human being like you. I know you don't do and will never do the same mistake that person did. But because we all make mistakes, you have a little credit to give to that person. And now I will open a huge parenthesis here. There are things that are unforgivable, period. I went through some of those. Unforgivable to do this to a child, period. Period. But if you start just grabbing the thing, what was done, what was the thing that was done, or the silence that you were expecting people to do something for you and they didn't respond properly the way you expected, you needed sometimes. The fact, the thing in itself, then the thing is unforgivable. Unforgivable. But the person can start being separate of the fact, and you throw all your unforgiveness to the thing, to the event, to the fact, and you can start loosening up the person from the event and start seeing the person human as you and me, making mistakes as you and me, and you can start your process of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not a click of a finger. Forgiveness is a process. And then another thing that comes and touches the forgiveness matter is the forgetting. I will never forget what you did. Of course, forgetting and forgiveness are in total different the compartments of your brain. Forgiveness as a memory, you won't forget, and you're not supposed to forget. Forgetting is different stuff, it's memory. Of course, you will ever have the memory of the fact. You have memories of things that you went through in a very early age. You won't forget events that are hurtful. Of course not. Nobody's asking you to forget. But if you forgive, and now comes the climax of the importance of forgiving. The person that didn't do, show up, didn't show up, sometimes the person doesn't even remember anymore. Or the worst scenario is careless. Worst scenario is careless. Or forgot. Or so your unforgiveness just keeps you held on the fact. It's like you're dragging a very heavy luggage, very heavy, like the backpack full of heavy stones and rocks, heavy. And you are the one that is carrying these, my friend. You are the one that is suffering, bringing adrenaline to your blood, having all this bad feeling, and you are doesn't feel good. Unforgiveness, be honest with me. Do you feel good when you think about the fact, and you think about the person and what they didn't do? Do you when you think about that, do you feel good? No. So if you don't feel good, you're the only person that can change this state of thing. How? Forgiving. Forgiving has no business with the other person. Forgiveness has no business with the other person. I'll say again. Forgiveness has no, none, zero, nada with the other person. Forgiveness is all about you free yourself from that heavy weight you've been carrying on your shoulders, pushing you down, making you sad, unhappy, robbing the joy of your life just because you're just making that be on and on and on and on in your mind and in your heart. So, what happened, that one event or a series of events that happened back there, it's there. It's not repeating again. It's there. You are the one, my friend. Can I be honest here with you? That's the only way I can help you. As a coach, that's the only way is to be honest with you, to just bring up all this mud that has been pushing you down and making you unhappy, dissatisfied, not content with the life you're living. It's to face the truth and find other ways. Because the way you're doing, if you can't forgive, the way you're doing is not working. So I am presenting to you another way. But the thing is, this way I'm presenting to you works. The way you have carrying that and didn't solve the problem, didn't make it easy for you. And if you think that holding the person on your unforgiveness is doing any bad for the person, you know you're wrong. The person doesn't even remember or think about. You are the one that's carrying the heavy weight. You are the one that is suffering again. Every time you remember, you bring that back and back. And who is doing this is you with your unforgiveness. So the ultimate step, the ultimate step to declutter the mind is to forgive. The unforgiveness stuff are the things that the most are heavy in our backpack, the backpack of our memories, and heavy in our mind that we don't declare because we chose not to. We want to hold the person there. Our anger, our unforgiveness makes the person still be there. And once you realize that you are the one that's holding that, you will realize easier that you are dragging those memories from the past, bringing to the present over, over, and over, and over again and again and again. You are doing this. What they did is there, done. Okay, it's unbelievable. They did that, done. But if you want to free your heart, free your mind, to give space, to give room for the good, to give room for all the things you deserve, that process needs to start. We will talk a little bit more on how, but the first step is to start just contemplating the idea of separating. What she and he did was unforgivable. But I'll start thinking about she is a human being. Hmm. She, yeah, I made mistakes too in my life. Not that grave, but I made some. And yeah, and maybe even in this process, you will think about things that you did that you also need to go ahead and ask for forgiveness. Oh, it's impossible. I don't have the access to the person, or the person passed away. Make a letter, write an email, write a letter, and then you burn. But you just have your repent moment when you will just write down everything you did and how you feel today about that. And forgive yourself is the same process. Separate the fact from you as a human being that deserve the forgiveness, because you are human and we make mistakes. So maybe starting with yourself, forgiving yourself for things you did, even little things, will just be like a trigger. You start like firing up how to do with other people. It's in your hands, my friend. I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm saying that it's possible. And being possible, why not to try? And imagine yourself in the other side, not having these feelings, not having these thoughts anymore. How your life would be. How your life would be when you just discharge this backpack that you're carrying with all this anger, resentment, unforgiveness, and you just discharge that. And you can breathe, and you don't need to think about these or the event of the people or the people. You don't need to think about that anymore. Imagine your life absolutely free from those thoughts and from those feelings, the heavy feelings. How your life would be. I, Katja, can't even imagine. Just try. Just try, my friend. Freedom, happiness, joy, satisfaction will be all back to your life. Just because you chose one day to be kind enough to yourself and forgive and be forgiven and forgive yourself. My name is Katia Ferreira, and I'm here every Monday. The time here, if you are not in the United States, we are in California and we have a time change. So if you feel weird that we are in another time, it's because we are 1 hour earlier now. But you, the ones that are here now in the live, thank you for being here. And for you that is watching the recording, consider if you have any doubt, any question, write down in the comments. If you have any difficulty, we have 1 week until next Monday to continue this conversation. And I'm willing to, I will see all the comments. I will read and answer you. Take good care of yourself and have a nice, amazing, much happier week. I know for sure. Take care.